Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises, honor, and glory to the Father, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah. Double honors to the elders, and peace and serenity to the 144 brothers out here preaching this truth in sincerity. With that being said, shalom. I'm Brother Daniel, and I got an article here titled, Uber drivers are not employees. Fair Work Ombudsman Finds by business reporter David Chow. And this was posted today. Right? The Fair Work Ombudsman has finalized its investigation onto Uber and found its drivers to be independent contractors, not employees. So you're not even considered an employee to Uber. You're considered an independent contractor, which means you don't get paid your fair share and there's nothing you can really do about it. You get paid what they give you, right? Its decision confirms that Uber drivers are not entitled to receive the minimum wage, annual leave, sick leave, or any benefits that employees receive. For the last 2 years, the FWO had been looking into whether the rideshare giant had engaged in sham contracting. The regulator wanted to know whether Uber was misrepresenting its drivers as essentially people who are running their own business to avoid paying employee benefits. The weight of evidence from our investigation establishes that the relationship between Uber Australia and the drivers is not an employment relationship, said Fair Work Ombudsman Sandra Parker. For such a relationship to exist, the courts have determined that there must be, at a minimum, an obligation for an employee to perform work when it is demanded by the employer. Our investigation found that Uber Australia drivers are not subject to any formal or operational obligations to perform work. So they got no schedule. They got no, you don't have to time in and clock out. You come in when you want to go, you come in, you go as you please. Right? How did FW reach its decision? In reaching its decision, the FWO said it looked at wide range of evidence, including drivers' contracts, log-on and log-off records, payment records, and interviews with Uber drivers. Right? Uber Australia drivers have control over whether, when, and for how long they perform work, or any given day, or any given week. Uber Australia does not require drivers to perform work at a particular times. This was a key factor in our assessment that the commercial arrangement between the company and the drivers does not amount to the employment relationship. So they're scamming off of people wanting to have free time to reign and come in and go to work and make a little extra cash, but the time that they clock in and do this work has no significance to how much you make. As a consequence, the Fair Work Ombudsman will not take compliance action in relation to this matter. It took a similar approach to the Fair Work Commission, which found in 2017 and 2018 that Uber drivers were in fact contractors rather than employees. The FWO, however, stressed that its probe related only to Uber and was not an investigation into other companies in the gig economy, including Ola, Deliveroo, Didi, and Menulog, right? So Uber said it welcomed the Ombudsman's findings. Driver partners tell us that they value the freedom of being their own boss, Uber spokesperson said. In fact, more than 90% of driver partners in Australia tell us flexibility is the key attraction to users using the Uber app, and that's how they get you. They sit here and say, oh, you can come in and go as you please, this, that, and the third, but we're not required to pay you bare minimum wage. We can pay you $2 an hour. We can pay you $3 an hour. We can pay you $1, a quarter, 10 cents for doing the work while we keep the most of the money that you charge for. Right? Hopelessly broken laws. The decision is wrong because the drivers are not allowed to set their own rates, said Steve, an Uber driver who declined to provide his sure name. Any contractor should be able to set their own rates, and that's the problem. You don't set your own rates, so you come in what they give you, right? The decision was disappointing, said Maxby, the Uber driver who lodged the sham contracting complaint with the FWO and also runs an online advocacy group called the Rideshare Drivers United. It goes against decisions made in several other courts around the world, which found Uber to be an employer. The Transport Workers Union, TWU, meanwhile, has also slammed the decision and called for law reform. Today's decision is devastating for workers in the gig economy, TWU National Secretary Michael Caine said. Last year, we had a landmark victory when a Foodora writer won an unfair dismissal case, and we know the same control factors are in play for workers in Uber and right across the gig economy, right? So if this is what our laws are guiding regulatories to do, then these laws are hopelessly broken, and the government must act urgently to put in place rights that protect all workers. Although the FWO has decided not to take further action, the drivers' campaign to be recognized as employees may not be over. Do I think it's definitive? No, I don't think so, because the Fair Work Ombudsman is not the only actor who gets to take action against Uber, said Associate Professor Sarah Kane from the University of Technology, Sydney. There are individual drivers, unions, worker bodies, and who also have an interest and could also take action. So Uber's got a long list of possible litigations in court with a lot of people they've been scamming and underpaying, that this is going to be a long time. And so Uber may not last through the years. A lot of people are going to get in and then make a little cash and then get out because they're going to realize it's a scam and they're not getting paid what they owed. So let's go to the book. Let's go to Father's book and go straight to Exodus chapter 22 and verse 25. Right? Exodus chapter 22, verse 25. If thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as a usurer, neither shalt thou lay upon him usury. You see that? You're not supposed to sit here and use people, man. And that's exactly what Uber's doing. They're sitting here hiring people and knowing that there is no minimum wage. There's no required to pay them minimum wage. So that means they can throw up any price when you call in Uber, and majority of that money is going to go to Uber, and the driver may get 10, 20% of that little bit. So this place will not stand long. All those that are still paying in the Uber, I would say until this situation's handled, put your money to your friends, your neighbors, those you trust to give you rides, pay them. Avoid Uber as possible, avoid Lyft as possible until this economy can be more, spread across the board for everybody, meaning they need some type of, city public auction where, people can call into the city and they can ask for drivers, and the driver can basically, post how much he wants to pay, and you can pick between the drivers of who you want to deal with, how much you're willing to pay, and how the cost of the gas and the mileage and things of those natures should be added into it, so that, the taxi, the cab company, or whoever the person that's the independent contractor can get his money's worth, make his money back for his gas, make his money back for the miles he's put on, you know what I'm saying? And on top of that, earning his service fee for driving you and going out his way. So the system needs to be corrected. I don't agree with it as far as the oil, because this Uber and Lyft thing was mostly pushed for burning more oil. That's what this was about. Now, if they enact more public transportation, renewable energies, they put more buses on electric or, renewable energy efficient buses and trains and cars and things like that, and make these things free, this whole system completely gets obliterated and it's out the window. If you even bring back horses and carriages. There's a lot of ways to disseminate it. But we're so far gone that we're so deep into oil and things like that that now they've created a system that's demanding of more oil and demanding of driving your cars and demanding of burning more fuel for unnecessary reasons, for completely unnecessary, vain reasons, just to burn more oil. These people are demonic, man. They're the Bible, they're the devil the Bible speaks of, right? So let's jump to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy, and let's go to 23 and verse 19 and 20. Right? Thou shalt not lend upon usury to thy brother, usury of money, usury of victuals, usury of anything that is lent upon usury. Unto a stranger thou mayest lend upon usury, but unto thy brother thou shalt not lend upon usury, that the Yahweh thy power may bless thee in all that thou settest thy hand in, Salakia, in the land whither thou goest to possess it. So you're not supposed to be using our brothers and sisters, man. And that's exactly what Uber's doing. He's using people that have the free time and have a vehicle to drive for them underpaid. They think they're making normally what you drive, maybe you put in 10, 15 miles, and normally 10, 15 miles may cost you, 10, 15, 20 bucks of gas money. And, you may have to throw in those costs and those figures and then sit here and say you're being undercut. Because now you're traveling, picking up people and you're traveling 10, 15 miles and only making $2, $3, $4 for that 2, 3 miles, 20, 30 miles you put in, and you're only getting paid $2, $3. And so you think you made some money and you honestly spent more money in your gas alone and in your miles, in the maintenance of your car. These things aren't covered. So Uber set up a perfect usury system, right? So let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs 28 and 8, right? He that by usury and unjust gain increaseth his substance, he shall gather it for him that will pity the poor. You see that? He that by usury and unjust gain increases his substance. You see that? Uber's increasing their substance. Right now, by usury, by using the public to sit here and serve the public. Right? He shall gather it for him that will pity the poor. So all that money that they're gathering, as they start getting sued and start getting, taken to court, all that money is going to come right back out. So Uber made a good, a get rich quick scheme, and they, got rich off of it. Now they're going to end up ultimately paying it right back out to the public for what they should have been paid in the first place. But they may not have gotten rich as they did if they had done it right. But it would have been legit money if they had paid everybody their due. So now you're in a conundrum where Uber eventually will fall apart. Without a doubt, it'll fall apart. Because that money is owed on to the poor who's actually doing this good service by helping the rest of the poor. By having, if they have a vehicle, they're willing to drive and drive them, other people that don't have a car to other locations. So this isn't a have-nots and have problem. This is, these people trying to get rich and find schemes to get other people to do their lazy work because they're too lazy to do it for themselves. Right, so let's go to Ezekiel. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel and chapter 18 and verses 13. Right, he hath given forth upon usury and hath taken increase. Shall he then live? He shall not live. He hath done all these abominations. He shall surely die. His blood shall be upon him. You see that? Those executives in Uber are going to get hung. There's bodies. They already got bodies in their name. Taxi drivers have killed themselves trying to protest against Uber when they first came into existence. That the taxi cab drivers noticed these things that they were doing, and they knew exactly what it meant. That, no, we're going to lose money. This is going to be a slow bleed out in the economy because the simple fact that these people are getting rich and taking the whole amount and they're only paying back, a small portion of the money they made from each, driver, and it's going straight into their account and then they pay those people out. And so it's a perfect scam. So these scams will be over, man. They're not going to last. Uber, you will not see go throughout the generations. You will not see Uber last many, many years. This is not a company you will see last. This is just the last ditch attempt to make as much money as fast as they can. And now they're paying a penalty for it. And so Uber will eventually be crushed under just people complaining. Um, litigations, going to court. You know what I'm saying? All these things are going to start to come about. More and more people will start complaining about these things, about, mistreatments and, not getting paid their full amount or the money that say on their list isn't there. And right now, people are complaining about the little pennies that they receive. They're not even receiving that. So what's that say? They're not paying even the full amount. This is a scam. They're using people's ability or their access to, a car or whatever they may have to drive people around. And they're making money off of other people's services. If these are individual contracts, then most of that money should be going directly to the driver, not to the company. So with that being said, I hope brothers and sisters are edified. Yahweh Ba'Hashem Hamasiach Yahweh Barakatah to you brothers and sisters out there. With that saying, Shalom.